You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, voters in Jasper are going to be asked about a tax increase that will help staff the fire protection district.
Also, authorities charge a woman with arson after a massive fire destroys an apartment building in southwest Missouri.
And we've got a very nice day ahead of us. Once again, we'll have a check of that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 a.m. On this Wednesday, March the 26th. We are now marching right along into spring. Very warm temperatures out there. We've been above normal, and it's going to continue to be that way. And of course, weather is a science, and science was on display the other day.
Yes, indeed, it was. Missouri Southern hosted its 36th annual Regional Science Fair.
The fair consisted of middle and high school students from more than 16 counties between Missouri and Kansas.
KOAM's Lonnie Walton took us there to get all the action.
Well, microplastics are a really big issue just in the whole world in general right now.
Ty Madison is a senior at Joplin High School. He's a science lover and joined this science fair competition to help educate people on the dangers of microplastics.
In the Joplin area, for sure, right now there's a really big issue with them because there isn't necessarily data that tells us how many microplastics are in our waterways.
He's not the only one dealing with microplastics. Middle school Ancy often says she talks about them too. And like Ty, she says they're no good.
I did pothos propagation and plastic bottles versus glass jars. Plastic bottles can contain microplastics and nanoplastics that have harmful heavy metals and chemicals in them.
And high school senior Maya Craven has her own specialty, but we'll let her tell you what that is.
What I did was I evaluated sheep wool pellets as a sustainable alternative for water conservation and drought-prone areas.
And how did she do that?
I separated 72 individual plant pots into 3 groups. One had 0% sheep wool pellets implemented into that soil. Group 2 had about 5% and Group 3 had about 10%.
Both Maya and Ty had to give 12-minute talks to judges that they hope would allow them to enter a state competition at the University of Central Missouri. Maya says she's having a blast.
I learned a lot of things that I didn't think I was going to learn.
And for Ty, although there's no cure for microplastics, bringing awareness to it is just as important to him.
Hard thing because microplastics can be this tiny thing that you can barely detect.
And Ansley says she's saving all her learning for one thing.
I want to be a vet when I'm older.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
And the winner of the fair received medals and cash prizes. The grand prize winner will have an opportunity to participate in an international science and engineering fair held in May.
Of course, science, very important. And there's, again, weather's aside, there's so many branches to science.
Of course.
And a lot of important things that need to be done. And I'm telling you, these kids right now are a lot smarter than I am. So my hat is off to them. And they're still
Absolutely.
they haven't even graduated high school
That's
yet.
very true,
They're still in middle school, too.
Some bright futures ahead for sure.
Absolutely. And we've got a bright day ahead of us as well with sunshine, maybe a few clouds here and there. In fact, we could show you that the sun's not fully up yet. It'll be up here in about 20 minutes, but we're getting some daylight, got a few clouds. We're looking at clear to partly cloudy skies on occasion. That was, of course, downtown Pittsburgh. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Folks getting their day underway on what is going to be another beautiful day here in the 4 states. And how do we know this? Well, traditionally, the future track doesn't lie to us. Every so often it does, but not today. We are looking at, again, clear to partly cloudy skies. Could be a little warmer to the south and west, but otherwise, it's just going to be a great day once again. So take time, get outside, enjoy, head to the park, walk a trail, or if you're, lazy like I am sometimes, just go sit outside in your yard at least. That way you're outside. Open up the house again. Let some fresh air in because I have no doubt you got to air it out. I aired out some of my house yesterday. I'm not saying my house stinks. Okay, I don't want that being the impression. I'm just saying it's nice to get fresh air circulated after being buttoned up all winter. 48 in Joplin right now, 45 in Pittsburgh. Our average low about 40, so we are above normal in most cases out there. Miami Grove, for example, you're pretty close to average. Same with Stockton, but most of us into the mid to upper 40s. And we're looking at highs today for the majority of us into the low 70s. Partly cloudy skies out there, not a bad day overall. And so we're going to be doing pretty pretty good across the region as we head into the day for us today. We do have some thunderstorm chances as we go into tomorrow morning and again by Sunday. We'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. Prosecutors bring a charge of arson against a woman in connection with a massive apartment fire near Table Rock Lake. Over the weekend, authorities arrested Angie Maywald, a resident of the apartment complex. She'll face a charge of first-degree felony arson and felony endangering the welfare of a child. Court documents allege Maywald set the fire that fully engulfed the apartment complex in Stone County, Missouri. Police officers say she took a child outside of the complex with her, but ran into the woods alone. According to the state fire marshal, Maywald admitted to setting the fire that displaced 32 people and 19 families. Maywald is being held without bond. A medical emergency puts a Joplin firefighter in the hospital. It happened yesterday during scheduled training exercises at the Joplin Public Safety Training Center. This is file video of that center. Authorities are not yet releasing details, including the name of the firefighter, but they say fellow firefighters provided immediate assistance on the scene. At last report, the firefighter was in the hospital, listed in critical but stable condition. Look out for updates on KOAMnewsnow.com. Now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports on the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. The Jasper, Missouri Fire Protection District is asking voters to approve a tax increase on April 8th. It would be the first tax rate increase for the district since 2015. KOAM's Samantha Walker spoke with staff who say they're out of other options for funding.
Since 2020, the Jasper Fire Protection District has used a FEMA grant to help pay for staffing, but that grant ended in 2024 and they were unable to renew it.
We tried for an extension and there was no extension available and the grant went away, and the current tax dollars won't fund that without some kind of help or an increase.
The Jasper Fire Protection District is asking voters to approve a property tax increase that would only pay for staffing. If passed, that increase would raise the tax rate by 30 cents per $100 of assessed property valuation, bringing the total to about 59 cents per $100.
We really hated to ask for this and still don't really want to ask for it, but we really have no choice. We've reached a breaking point to where there's just no other choice that we can come up with.
Good says the tax increase wouldn't pay for more staffing. It would allow them to sustain their current number of daytime staff. He says without other funding options, the district will likely have no choice but to close their doors during the day.
Which means we'll start missing calls as medical calls, car wrecks, fires, and what have you. There just won't be anyone here a lot of times to respond to it.
Jasper Fire serves roughly 126 square miles, and he says they're often the only ones able to get to scenes nearby quickly. If they don't have daytime staffing, he says it could take much longer for other departments to get to any emergency.
Most of our surrounding departments are in the same boat as we are. There's a lot of times we're on scene with a heart attack patient or some type of a medical emergency or a car crash for anywhere from 20 to sometimes 40 minutes to an hour before an ambulance arrives up in here. So without that, someone's going to have to sit there and wait for a prolonged time for help to arrive.
The district responds to both Barton and Jasper counties, so voters in both counties will see this question on their ballots. In Jasper, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Voters will cast their ballots for or against the tax increase on April 8th. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, it's Wildcat Wednesday, and today we'll explore where different cuts of meat come from. But first, here's a live look from Arma, Kansas. You may enjoy a good steak from time to time, but do you know what part of the animal it came from? James Cooper from the Kansas State Research and Extension Office is with us this morning to explain why it's important to learn the different cuts of meat. Good morning.
Yeah,
So
morning.
tell me a little bit about why it is important to be familiar with different cuts of meat.
For the most part, you kind of need to know, so that way you need to know what to do with it, because there's all different ways of cooking our meat. And so there's all kinds of meat cuts that come from the cattle, the pig, all the animals. And so knowing what you've got and knowing how to cook it is going to be an important part of anything. And so our program that we have coming up on April the 12th, it talks about how to do all those things, how to know the cuts that you're getting, also the quality of the cuts, because there's a huge range of quality when it comes to the cuts of our meat. And so, to kind of talk about this, I was going to do like a little quiz first, all right?
Yeah,
we're going to see
absolutely.
if you can identify what cuts of meat that we have here.
Okay, awesome.
We talk about it.
Of course.
So, which one do you think is the chuck roast?
The chuck roast. Honestly, not completely sure. I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah, very good. That's
Okay.
the chuck roast. How
Awesome.
about the T-bone?
I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah, all right. You got the T-bone
The
right
T-bone's
there. Arm roast.
Arm roast, is it this one right here in the middle?
No.
No. Is it this one right here? Or this one?
Yeah, there you go.
Third time's the charm.
And we got ribeye.
Ribeye, I believe is this
Yeah. Nice steak cut. You can see all the marbling
one.
in
Of course,
there.
yes. And
Top
then
sirloin and brisket.
I believe this is the top sirloin.
Yep.
And then the brisket is this one here in the
That's
middle.
right. When you get one of those giant steaks from a steakhouse, right? You got there.
Right.
And now, as you can see on our chart here, the different areas of the cow it came from. You got, the roast here, the brisket down there, the round, like a round steak that they kind of hammer out, and sometimes your roast come from there. But right there, the tenderloin, that's where all your good steak cuts come from and all the good stuff. And so, top sirloin, the sirloin out of there, and that's kind of the part that they cut around as they're getting those nice good steaks.
Wow.
And so you could see, when we're talking about all these cuts, there's a lot of cow, right? I mean,
course.
you're processing cow, you get 500-600 pounds of meat right there, and all of it's very different. All of it doesn't all get processed into hamburger. So, braising the steaks, it'll be on April the 7th, and it'll be at the Gerard Extension office there.
And what time will this be?
Yes, this will be kind of an all-day event. So it'll be like 8:30 to about 2:30 or so, and so April the 12th at the Crawford County Extension office, and we would really appreciate if people want to come and check out meat and see how to cook it. We're gonna have a grilling contest. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for teaching me about this today. We will come back with Chris with a full look at your forecast. Thank you.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at almost 7:18 on this Wednesday morning. And after seeing all that steak, I am now extraordinarily hungry. So I'm going to have to probably leave and get some. And then I'll come back, okay? I promise. I'm kidding. I'll be here through the morning for you. We got a really nice day, though. So it's actually really a great day to grill outside if you'd like to, because we're looking at a mix of clear to partly cloudy skies, a light east breeze, a little warmer off to the south and west, but just another fantastic day. Now, the changes, they kick in overnight tonight. After midnight, clouds will begin to increase. That will actually slow down our temperature drop to the point that we'll be nearly 20 degrees above normal as we start tomorrow morning. However, we also are going to be starting tomorrow morning with the chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Now, this is the computer model that yesterday showed the potential for the sprinkles and showers we saw yesterday, but it was the only one that said that. All the others said no rain. It was going to be dry. This one had it right. So I'm going to go with this one. I think it's going a little robust on the number of showers and storms we'll see tomorrow, but it at least is catching up and picking up on the fact that I do think we're going to see showers and storms between about 4 a.m. and 1 p.m. Now, no severe weather is expected, but we are looking at a fairly soggy start to the day, and again, by about 1, these should be on their way out of here. And again, that's what I mean too. See, it's holding on to showers as late as 5 tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they'll be wrapped up by 1. But take a look at what happens behind all that. Low 80s. This is like May weather here. Now, it will be breezier tomorrow. Southwest winds will start gusting upwards of about 30, but because it'll be so much warmer, and then we'll see additional clouds rolling in on Friday. Look at how we're starting our day Friday, another 20 degrees above normal out there. Clouds increase through the day Friday. We have opportunities for isolated pop-up showers or thunderstorms. Majority of us will remain dry. What we've got to watch is heading into the weekend, which we'll talk about in just a second. All right, beautiful sunrise out there this morning. Upper 40s to start, low 60s by 11 o'clock this morning, ahead of our highs. Going into the low 70s with that east breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And as I mentioned, clouds will thicken up after midnight. So that's why we start to see temperatures slow in that drop. And we're going to be in the upper 50s, and we'll have south winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So here's the thing. There's been Saturday, I think, is probably the biggest up in the air day we have right now, at least from the data I've looked at. I'm going to tell you why, because this future track here, this one is still showing by Saturday afternoon the opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Not many, but at least some. Other model data is suggesting we actually won't see any rain, period, on Saturday. And you may recall, of course, our severe threat for Saturday was removed. But updates this morning say there's at least still that chance of maybe a strong storm or two late Saturday afternoon. What we're really keeping an eye on is what will be the trigger for a bigger severe weather event to our east, a cold front coming through, and it could trigger showers and storms as early as 2 a.m. Sunday. And the thing is based on all the variables we'll have in play, some of those, as we start the day super early, could be strong, potentially severe, and the outlook has been updated accordingly. It's slid a little further to the west for Sunday. If this takes place, it will be very early Sunday morning, so you definitely want to be paying attention. You want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the forecast, and of course, we'll keep you updated as we get there. But I think that's the biggest concern, is just how early these potential storms could be. Most of us will be sleeping. Again, very warm tomorrow, low 80s, low 70s on Friday, very warm again Saturday. Not bad Sunday, aside from those morning thunderstorms. Cooler on Monday. Warm weather returns by Tuesday and Wednesday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Spring is about to go into full swing, and that means more time outside. John Harrison from In the Garden is with us this morning on how you can learn a few tips to help with your outside plants this year. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So can you tell me a little bit about Spring Fling?
Well, it's an annual event that we have. We have some civic groups that show up. There are some family farms there that are going to be promoting their businesses, and there's a couple other vendors there as well.
Awesome. So what classes will be available?
So at 9:30, Carly is our house plant specialist that works at the garden center there, and she probably has about 100 house plants at home. She takes care of all the ones at the shop on a weekly basis. So she'll be giving a class starting at 9:30. And then at 10 o'clock, our landscape manager, Melissa, will be giving advice on landscaping. We like to do questions and answers. A lot of people have that. And then I start at 11. I'm going to be talking about all the new plants. I order all the trees, shrubs, annuals, and perennials for the garden center every year. So I'll be talking about that. We've got something really new this year. We've got a glow-in-the-dark petunia, so I'm going to be talking about that. It's exciting. Flower that glows in the dark. And when I was up there this morning, it was dark before I drove to the TV station, and I walked in the greenhouse, and these things are glowing in the dark. It's really kind of cool. And then I'll do a lot of question and answers. A lot of people have a lot of questions. I ask about vegetable plants, could be trees. I have a lot of plant knowledge. I've been doing it for 20 years.
And so what do you hope people take away from this event?
Well, it's Spring Fling, so we just want everybody to get excited. The spring fever, get out. It's a little early to plant some things, but we have a lot of things you can still plant outside right now. We grow things specifically for this time of year that you can plant. One date that is good to remember is April 15th is our average frost date. It doesn't mean it's going to frost on April 15th every year, but it could frost a few days on either side of that. So tender plants, you need to be careful with, like a lot of vegetable plants. Maybe you buy them and don't plant them quite yet. But this will get people in and they can see what we're going to offer, some of what we offer. We don't have everything yet because we're early, but we do have plenty of things that you can plant right now that'll tolerate it kind of cool.
Awesome, awesome. So for people who are interested, tell me where this will be held, what time?
So it is Saturday, March 29th at In the Garden at 818 East 4th Street in Pittsburgh, Kansas. We're right in the middle of Pittsburgh. It's not hard to find, and you can find us on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. That sounds so exciting. We'll have more news and weather when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Melissa Alexis. The Oklahoma Health Department confirms 7 of 9 reported cases of measles in the state. These cases were confirmed among unvaccinated individuals in northeastern Oklahoma. Health officials also say all cases are linked through exposures to household or extended family, and initial cases reported exposure to the measles outbreak in West Texas and New Mexico. They say no cases have resulted from exposure to public settings at this time. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Diabetes awareness was the focus of a gathering at Joplin's Freeman Business Center yesterday. The Freeman Diabetes Coordinator presented information about how to cook for 1 or 2 people. She also gave Freeman Advantage members tips for healthier meal planning and making good choices when grocery shopping.
So what we focus on with diabetes is on the total carbohydrates, because actually all those carbohydrates turn to glucose in the body and raise blood sugar. So we do care about sugar because it tends to add carbohydrates to our product, but we just focus on looking at total carbohydrates. If it does have a little sugar, it's okay. You can still eat it.
This presentation was in recognition of Diabetes Alert Day and National Kidney Month. Miami, Oklahoma has a new police chief. The city announced yesterday it's hired a 30-year career law enforcement professional, Stephen Sigmund, for the job. Sigmund is a native Oklahoman and most recently served in a number of positions with the St. Lucie County, Florida Sheriff's Office. Captain Todd Hicks had been the interim Miami police chief since the resignation of Thomas Hightower Anderson in November. Pitt State has a fever right now, and the only cure is a championship from the women's basketball team. The team beat Lubbock Christian on Monday in Monday night's Elite 8 matchup in the NCAA tournament in Pennsylvania, and the hot streak has the student body fired up for more.
Oh, it was so good. So boom, they put on the board. They said, first win, first champion since 2016, 2019. I was like, what? Coach Amanda, she is so good. Like, she really took the program from here to everyone does such a good job. Grace Pyle, Corinna Gerber, all of the starters, Macy James runs such an amazing offense. I feel like everyone truly plays their part, and each one of them really deserves this win. Like, they were fighting for it the whole season. Such a great thing to watch. I was so happy.
It's a great win for them, for the program. They've been working really hard this year, and it's fun. It's been fun supporting them, and as a football player, we try supporting all the sports we can.
Up next for Pitt State will be a matchup against Grand Valley State in the Final Four tonight. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, talk about an impressive program they're running over there. It's just fantastic to see, and the enthusiasm as well is also fantastic. We have a fantastic day to help you celebrate, maybe prepare for that Final Four matchup tonight. A little bit of haze out there this morning for our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Otherwise, at this point, clear skies. Clear skies, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. And as we look at the future track, we're looking at clear to potentially partly cloudy skies today. Otherwise, we will be dry, we will be warm, and the winds will be light out of the east at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So pretty fantastic day for us today. Temperatures right now, again, a bit on the chilly side. But believe it or not, we're going to be about 10, 15 degrees warmer by this time tomorrow morning. We're at 48 in Joplin, 45 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, temperatures look like this. We do have some low 40s, but keep in mind our average low should be about right here. Miami, you are normal. You're right where you should be. We've got some like Grove, Stockton, they're relatively close to that, but others into the upper 40s. Again, today, warm, not bad, a mix of clear to partly cloudy skies, low 70s for our highs out there. Now, we do have thunderstorm chances tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that, and I know everybody's talking about the storm system this weekend. We'll get the details on that for you as well here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. The FBI is launching a new task force after a series of attacks at Tesla dealerships across the country. Fox News multimedia reporter Kennedy Hayes is in Austin, where there was another recent attack.
One day after Austin police discovered multiple firebombs at a local Tesla dealership, the FBI said it's launching a new task force aimed at cracking down on violent Tesla attacks. This after Tesla attacks have now been reported in at least a dozen states as well as Canada. The head of the FBI and Attorney General calling the attacks acts of domestic terrorism.
We can infer that they're angry at Mr. Musk for his political activity, but they're going to actually need evidence to prove that. Then it does fit, I think, pretty squarely within the definition of domestic terrorism.
Attackers have been targeting Tesla since President Trump put the car company's owner, Elon Musk, in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency. One Tesla driver telling Fox he recently found the word Nazi carved into his vehicle.
I've had folks roll coal on me or give me the middle finger or things like that, cut me off, pretty aggressively on purpose.
Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asked about the increase in Tesla protests.
I think about Republicans calling me a communist and Republicans saying that I hate this country, and I certainly have felt the impact of that.
President Trump calling the attackers terrorists and vowing they'll be held accountable.
But I think they're going to suffer very grave consequences because they're really terrorists.
And while it's still unknown who is responsible for the latest attack here in Austin, at least 3 people have been charged in Oregon, South Carolina, and Colorado. In Austin, Texas, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
The Justice Department says each defendant could face up to 20 years in prison. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Concerns grow after a major ancestry company files for bankruptcy. We'll have the latest coming up in Consumer Watch. But before we head to break, here's a live look from Arma, Kansas. In Consumer Watch this morning, there's a disappointing reading on consumer confidence for this month. The Conference Board's reading cooled to 92.9, down from last month. Confidence declined for a 4th consecutive month. The board's senior economist says pessimism about future business and conditions and employment prospects declined. However, March's fall in confidence was driven by consumers over 55 years old. Confidence rose slightly among consumers under 35. New home sales are weaker than forecast for February, increasing 1.8%. It's an improvement. New home sales declined in January, but economists were predicting a stronger number. The genetic testing company 23andMe filing for bankruptcy after facing multiple struggles, including growing concerns about the security of its customers' genetic data. Fox Business correspondent Max Gordon has the latest.
With the personal genomics company 23andMe filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the attorneys general of several states are recommending that people request the company delete their data. In a statement, the California Attorney General Rob Bonta writes, California has robust privacy laws that allow consumers to take control. In the Golden State, the Genetic Information Privacy Act and the California Consumer Privacy Act allow people to log on to their 23andMe accounts and permanently delete their genetic data, request that any samples are destroyed, and revoke permission for genetic data to be used in research. Similar privacy laws also exist in other states. Meanwhile, 23andMe insists that amid the bankruptcy filing, its users' data is safe, writing, the Chapter 11 filing does not change how we store, manage, or protect customer data. Our users' privacy and data are important considerations in any transaction. Any buyer of 23andMe will be required to comply with applicable law with respect to the treatment of customer data. 23andMe was first taken public back in 2021, and its valuation peaked in the same year at $6 billion. But since then, interest has waned, and the company struggled to find a reason for customers to come back after a one-time purchase of one of their kits. Then in 2023, the company took a major hit when hackers exposed nearly 7 million users' data. Now, once again, users' privacy is in the spotlight, with the company filing for bankruptcy and all of the data it's collected up for sale.
They'll say it's anonymous, but when someone buys this company, whether they have to, even though they may have to adhere to the rules of privacy, they know who's that DNA belongs to. They have that, and you have no sense of privacy with the owner there.
If you're looking to delete your data, there's a full list of instructions on how to do it on the California Attorney General's website. Max Gordon, Fox Business.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 on this Wednesday morning. Of course, we're going to start with the future track for today. We are looking at mostly clear to occasionally partly cloudy skies out there. Otherwise, a very nice day for us across the 4 states. And some of our southwestern counties could be a little bit warmer than the rest of us, going into the upper 70s as we head into the afternoon. Now, after midnight, clouds will begin to increase. That'll lock in the warmer air down here, so we're going to have a very mild overnight. We'll be about nearly 20 degrees warmer than where we should be for this time of year as we head into tomorrow morning. Now, as we head into tomorrow morning as well, we also have that possibility of some showers and thunderstorms. This is the same computer model yesterday that said there would be showers out there, but it was the only one that said that. All the others said no showers. It turns out it was right. So I'm going to throw this one in here. I will say that I think it's being a little robust with some of the showers and storms in terms of how many there will be, but I think it's fairly accurate that between roughly 4 a.m. and 1 p.m. we'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms on Thursday and tomorrow. I do not think we're looking at any severe weather. There's none expected at this point, but some rain, a bit of a soggy start to the day, and even though we're going to have that soggy start, once this activity clears out, we have a southwest wind that'll be gusting upwards of 30, and that ushers in this business. Low 80s by tomorrow at 5 o'clock. A very warm, almost May-like day in the 4 states. And of course, that will lead to a fairly mild overnight once again going into Friday morning. Now, clouds will thicken up Friday. We have an opportunity. If you look, you'll see the little green splotches here and there for some pop-up showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. I think most of us are dry on Friday. It's once we get into Saturday and Sunday that there's still some questions. Starting our day, though, upper 40s out there, low 60s by 11 o'clock. And as we head into the afternoon, highs into the low 70s, and our southwestern counties maybe the upper 70s, and a light east breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mild through the evening, low 60s by 10. Clouds thicken up, keep us warmer. Upper 50s out there, south breeze 5 to 10. Now we talk about Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is an enigma at this point. We had that severe risk a couple of days highlighted for our entire region for Saturday, and then it was gone. It hasn't come back. However, new information this morning does suggest that maybe late Saturday we could get some thunderstorms that could potentially break the cap and become at least strong. But there's still some questions. The future track here is showing by Saturday afternoon some shower and thunderstorm development possible once we get past noon, but it's going to be isolated to widely scattered. Other computer data, and this is where it gets more interesting, is showing no development at all throughout the day on Saturday. We have an approaching cold front. We have a very typical severe weather setup for a more significant event to our east, but that cold front will be pushing through very late Saturday, so after like 10, 11 o'clock. It could, believe it or not, it's not uncommon, but it doesn't happen a lot, trigger showers and thunderstorms as early as 2 a.m. that will rapidly intensify towards sunrise Sunday. Again, it's not uncommon, but it's not that often that we see nocturnal thunderstorm development that intensifies overnight. And that's what we are looking at, which is why, as we head into Sunday, we still do have, at least some of us, in a severe risk, which would line up with 2 a.m. development of storms along the front, and then they intensify as they push off to the south and east. So it's something we still want to keep a close eye on, especially that timing. If it's something that takes place 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it does turn severe, you're going to want to make sure you got your weather radio handy. Tomorrow, again, low 80s, low 70s Friday, low 80s again Saturday, upper 60s Sunday. Temperatures falling, though. Cold Sunday night into Monday, and we warm back up by Tuesday and Wednesday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after.
The Experimental Aircraft Association in Oshkosh, Wisconsin is providing opportunities to fly.
But not to fly just any planes. These planes have deep roots in aviation history.
From March 28th to the 30th, EAA will be offering rides in the Ford Trimotor and the B-25, two planes that share plenty of history. The B-25, nicknamed the Berlin Express, has a unique story.
It was one of over 10,000 B-25s manufactured during the war. It was actually built in California in December of 1943 is when it rolled off the production line as an H model.
Sean Elliott, one of the only half a dozen qualified left-seat pilots of the B-25, says it's lived a checkered life.
In the late 60s, it was actually owned by a movie company that used it in the movie Catch-22, which is a pretty famous early 70s movie that came out about World War II and B-25s. For the B-25 aficionado, it's an iconic movie.
The B-25 was returned to its film design when EAA restored it 10 years ago to cement its place in World War II and film history. In the Ford Tri-Motors case, for passengers in the 1920s, this was luxury. Now, it's a part of history.
The Ford Tri-Motor is regarded as the first luxury airliner. They were made by Ford Motor Company from 1926 to 1933. Ours specifically was made in 1929, and 199 were made in total, and less than 10 are still airworthy today.
Every seat on the Tri-Motor is a window seat, so those looking for a great view don't have to worry.
The best way I can describe it is it's like a time capsule. You get in and you kind of feel like what it was like to be a high roller in the 1920s. I mean, you were sitting really pretty if you were able to travel in one of these things, have the money to do so.
That's really cool.
That's
a lot of
super
history.
cool.
Yeah, I know these planes are well kept, but the older they get, I'm somebody who won't fly ever anyway. But
wow.
It would still be a little freaky. I'm like, man, this is even older than a new plane. I don't trust the new planes.
Yeah.
But it is still a very cool
It's very
experience.
cool, yeah.
And a lot of history there. And real quick, we're going to recap this weekend. So again, Saturday afternoon, we've got that possibility of some showers and thunderstorms. There's still some questions as to whether or not we'll get any development as all as we head into Saturday afternoon. But what we really want to watch is early Sunday morning. Cold front approaches, triggers storms in southeast Kansas by 2, and they could intensify pretty quickly as they head off to the south and east, which is why for Sunday, we do have this highlighted risk area that was along and east of I-49. It's been backed up to the west a little bit, so something we want to keep a close eye on. Well, another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Prosecutors bring a charge of arson against Angie Maywald in connection with a massive apartment fire near Table Rock Lake. She'll face a charge of first-degree felony arson and felony endangering the welfare of a child. Maywald admitted to setting the fire that displaced 32 people and 19 families. Maywald is being held without bond. The Jasper Fire Protection District is asking voters to approve a tax increase on April 8th. If passed, the increase would raise the tax rate by 30 cents per $100 if assessed property valuation. If approved, all funds would go to help fund staffing. Barton and Jasper County voters will see this question on their ballots on April 8th. The Oklahoma Health Department confirmed 7 of 9 reported cases of measles in the state. These cases were confirmed in northeastern Oklahoma. Health officials also say all cases are linked through exposures to households or extended family within initial cases, exposure in West Texas and New Mexico. They say no cases have resulted from exposure to public settings at this time.
We got a nice day out there, clear to partly cloudy skies, and we'll go into the low 70s. Southwestern counties could be a bit warmer, a light east breeze, 5 to 10. Clouds will thicken up after midnight, keeping us mild out there. Upper 50s, maybe some low 60s, and bear in mind we should be around 40 for our overnight low. Could have some showers and storms, no severe weather tomorrow between about 4 a.m. and 1 p.m. A couple of pop-up showers or storms Friday, and then we're keeping an eye on early Sunday morning for those thunderstorm chances, and some of those could be strong, potentially severe, so we'll keep you updated.
And you might have seen a Pittsburgh landmark getting a bath yesterday. Crews at the Best Hotel treated the nearly 100-year-old building to a much-needed exterior cleaning.
Now, the landmark is undergoing renovation as part of the Gorilla Rising project. So very cool to see. That's the building, of course, on our Pittsburgh Tower Camp. You could see it every morning. It's the sun usually rises right behind it. It's a beautiful building. Great to see the work that they're putting into it.
Absolutely.
It's a gorgeous building, even just from the outside.
It really
let alone
is.
On the inside.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
And have a great rest of your morning.